Hi, we're James and Zoya, and what began as a 6 month break from our careers quickly evolved into a year of global travel, adventure, and personal growth. From out of this world adventures in South America to unbelievable experiences in Europe to cultural immersion in Asia and beyond, we've used this time to rest, relax, and reset, giving us fresh perspective to chart a new course for our lives.
Our corporate job said no to a leave of absence, so we said yes to a leave of presence. Self prioritizing time for each other, for ourselves, for our family, and the world around us. This is our story.
So we met each other when we were only 21 years old at The Ohio State University.
Go Bucks!
Go Bucks! From there, we went from studying in Columbus, Ohio, to living together in Boston, Massachusetts, to eventually making our way to sunny Los Angeles. In that time, we had been dating for about 7 years, and we had visited countless countries before we decided to finally get hitched in 2021. So it's safe to say we've been together for pretty much a decade.
Wow, time really flies.
That's kind of crazy.
So throughout our 20s, we both worked in corporate America. I was in sales for large tech companies while James was working in technology consulting. And so we both had really solid career paths, but we were always drawn to doing something different, just not really sure what. And so we entertained the idea of going to grad school. But when it came down to the income and career change impact, it just really didn't make any sense to take on that debt.
Nope.
And so then we started looking at doing some international job transfer postings. So with our current jobs, we wanted to consider moving to Australia, the UK, but unfortunately, timing really just didn't pan out, aka COVID really put a damper on things. And as we've gotten older, having shorter flights to our parents and seeing them frequently just became more important.
Yeah. So as priorities changed, as well as the decision to do one of those options, we always made it a big point to set aside enough funds to give us the ability to choose either one of those life paths when we thought the moment was right.
When we were 28, two of our closest and most rational friends made a really bold decision. They both respectively quit their jobs in banking and nursing and decided to take a 3 month hiatus from their life. And during that time, they gained a ton of independence and sanity. They spent 3 months backpacking through Asia, spending time with family, and just getting a moment of peace to really reevaluate if the current path they're on is the right path for them.
When they returned, the impact was so clear that they both did a complete 180 in their careers, and it was very obvious to see that they've been happier ever since. We saw this and we were immediately inspired to do the same. We were motivated not just by the time to relax and travel, but more importantly by the time to take a breather and to reconsider our life path. While our careers have been rewarding in many ways, they were exhausting and starting to have a negative impact on many aspects of our mental and physical health, and we wanted to do something about that.
Yeah, I think James caught me daydreaming a lot. Daydreaming about a different type of life, a different type of career, asking myself questions around like, should I have majored in something different in college?
Yeah.
Am I actually doing what I was called to do for? Am I providing value to society outside of just making money? These are the questions that were kind of always ringing through me. And just like most other people, like that daydreaming gets cut short when you are busy with work, working 60-hour plus weeks, and honestly, just the lack of energy.
Yeah. I mean, after years of grinding, we knew we'd eventually want a big change, and our friend's life break was exactly what we wanted. However, with our own personal objectives and finances, we needed a bit more time to prepare for something as big as this, right? So we set goals for where we wanted to be in our careers before quitting. So we'd be happy with the options available to us upon our return. We also set goals where we wanted to be financially so we could even afford a 6+ month break away from work. So based on our income and what we were willing to sacrifice, we began aggressively saving, for our, world trip fund, and what really helped us in addition to saving was our decision to forgo graduate school.
Yeah. And as we started nearing our goals, we obviously quit our jobs. We started packing up our possessions and just exiting our lives.
Yeah. We actually get a ton of questions on this particular topic, but it's a bit too much to cover in this video. So stay tuned for one where we cover exactly how we set and achieved our saving goals. What specifically did we sacrifice, plus the steps we took to actually exit our lives. When we initially planned our leave of presence, we had 6 top priorities for maximizing this time in our lives. The first was to rest our minds and decompress from our busy lives. We wanted to feel like we finally got off the roller coaster of work, responsibilities, financial obligations, social commitments, And most importantly, we want to remove ourselves from social media and its negative influence on our daily lives.
The second one was to take control of our fitness and our health. We wanted to maximize our free time by working out more, eating better, and preparing for challenging nature expeditions.
Mm-hmm. Thirdly, we wanted to broaden our worldview by immersing ourselves in the culture, language, and the history of the places that we visited. We wanted to learn Spanish for our long trip to South America, and we really wanted to know key phrases for every other country we visited.
Almost us.
We sought experiences that would humble us, such as discussing cultural experiences with locals, participating in festivities, and learning their unique history and the modern challenges that they're dealing with.
The fourth one was to balance slow and fast travel so we don't burn out. So instead of trying to knock out every country this year, we opted into doing a little bit of slow travel, which really helped us live in certain areas, feel like we're part of the culture, and just giving us more freedom to take more off the beaten path experiences.
Mm-hmm. 5, to deepen our relationship with our families. Living in California, but having my parents in Florida and Zoya's parents in Ohio, we typically don't get too many opportunities to visit. And when we do, those moments are often rushed, trying to balance quality time with working remotely, right? So it was really important to use this opportunity to spend more uninterrupted time with our families. And that was really, really important to us.
And the last thing was to reflect on our past and plan for our future. We wanted to meet new people, try new experiences, and pick up new hobbies in the effort to rediscover the spice of life and to become inspired to do something new and different when we return. When it came to planning our trip, we wanted to break it down into chapters with goals and small wins to achieve in each one. We also spent time in between those chapters with our family for the reasons we mentioned before. Our goals during this phase were: one, we wanted to do every nature experience in South America that was considered off the beaten path and requires a ton of time to travel to. Because let's be real, with full-time jobs, it just would have never been prioritized. The second was to get in the best shape of our life so that we could accomplish 50 plus mile expeditions within 3 to 4 day stints. The third was we wanted to re-engage in hobbies we forgoed because we were always slammed with work. The first one and the major one for me was I really wanted to read fun books, keyword fun. Normally you would just see me reading a self-help book or some type of business book. We also got into watercoloring, cooking new recipes, and along the way found new inspirations such as swimming, smoothie making, and more.
Mm-hmm. That was the fun stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. During our time in South America, we completed multi-day trekking experiences through Patagonia and Machu Picchu. We trekked glaciers in Argentina, road tripped through the Atacama Desert, canoed in the Amazon rainforest, experienced the wonderful Carnival in Brazil, tasted guinea pig and llama meat.
Not gonna lie, the guinea pig was pretty good.
We learned how to tango and so much more. This was just the beginning of our journey. Between this chapter and the next, we decided to come home and spend time with our family. You know, it was a nice time to be home for casual morning coffee chats with our dads, shopping with our moms, lending a helping hand in random projects around the house, and even taking care of their dogs. Chapter 2, we call this the Vistas and Vibes phase. Many Americans have this fantasy of taking a big Euro trip between college graduation and their first job. And we knew so many people that were able to. But at that time, we were way too broke and in much too much student debt to be able to pull that off. So we never took that trip. But now is our time. We were fortunate enough to spend 2 months in Europe this past summer, 1 month traveling through the countries of Eastern Europe, and another month dedicated to Italy. Our goals during this phase were twofold. One, we focused on learning about nutrition specific to our bodies and natural healing remedies for our personal health. And two, we learned significantly more about history so that we could have greater appreciation for it.
So a month in Italy has always been James's dream. So we were sipping on Aperol Spritz in Cinque Terre. We were taking afternoon romantic gondola rides in Venice and drinking some of the best wine in Tuscany. This month was just so magical because it was so immersive and gave us the opportunity to really dive into Italian culture for an extended period of time. What was a personal highlight for me, though, was getting such a historical, deep knowledge of Eastern Europe. I've always been a history buff, but I can say that I don't think I've watched more historical documentaries or attended so many city walking tours until we came to Europe and felt a desire to really understand and learn.
You gotta get those steps in every day.
Yeah, it was about like 13,000, maybe 15,000 steps a day. But to really capstone this trip, we attended the biggest EDM festival in the world, Tomorrowland in Belgium. And we went with such a large squad of friends as passionate about EDM music as us. So to wrap up this chapter, we both returned to the US to spend a little bit more time with our family and visit some friends we were really missing.
Chapter 3. We call this the Roots and Rhythms phase. We spent 2 months total in Asia, 1 month in Indonesia, and 1 month in India. Our goals during this phase was threefold. One, we wanted to immerse in cultures that were drastically different from our own. We wanted to learn the common phrases, interact with the locals, and engage in some extremely unique traditions and rituals.
Hati hati.
Two, we wanted to connect with ourselves and each other on a more spiritual level. And three, we wanted to deepen relationships with family members along the way. Our time in Indonesia was divided into 2 parts. The first part exploring the large island of Bali with my sister and her partner, and the second part island hopping and experiencing different areas of this massive country. What made Indonesia so special was its dramatic beauty, its unique culture, and beyond friendly people, some of the nicest people that I've ever met. Additionally, this was our first time traveling internationally with my sister. We had a ton of fun, and we're really grateful to have had the opportunity to prioritize such a trip and to have made those memories.
The next month was in India, and it was incredibly special to us because the majority of my family actually lives in India. And due to the pandemic, I hadn't seen my family actually in a really long time. Plus, James had yet to come to India with me and meet these family members. So, this time in India was so incredibly special for a number of reasons. The first, I was able to reconnect with my family and deepen some bonds. Two, James and I attended some really large Diwali party at my cousin's houses, which is really cool. It's such a different cultural experience to celebrate Diwali in India versus back home in the States. The third, I personally was able to travel to different parts of India that I'd never even been to before. I'm personally from North India, and so this trip we really prioritized going to South India, and I had an even deeper appreciation for my own home country. And lastly, I was forced to speak Hindi in a lot of difficult situations. I'm personally fluent in understanding, but sometimes I can struggle in speaking. So this was really good practice, and I need to get better,
Yeah,
honestly.
that saved us.
And then across Indonesia and India, I'd say that we learned so much about Buddhism, Hinduism, and Islam. We participated in multiple prayer rituals in each religion and found so much beauty in each religion. So, chapter 4, we call the reflect and take action phase. So, it's the final part of our trip, and it's fair to say that we're pretty exhausted from all the travel. And two, we're really over budget. We'll get to that later. But at this point, we just needed an extended spot for some slow travel to reset mentally, emotionally, and physically and figure out what our next moves are after this world trip. So, for this part of our trip, we spent 5 weeks in Australia, spending the majority of our time in Brisbane and doing a couple small trips to the Great Barrier Reef, Gold Coast, and Sydney. While Australia was not the most budget friendly place for a long term stay, what helped a lot was that we had 1 month of pet and house sitting for a family that was going on a long vacation. The best part of this time period was taking care of the cutest fur family, 3 cats, 1 dog, an entire home to work from, with laundry, a big kitchen, and most importantly, 0 flights for an entire month.
That's probably the best part, honestly.
Literally, I
Yeah.
can't.
You
Can't.
so just given what we were doing during this time period, our goals during this phase were to really reflect on our past lives and determine what we want to take away from this experience and bring into our lives moving forward. And we wanted to evaluate our options for new jobs and lifestyle when we return. Prior to our leave of presence, we felt we were no longer on the path that satisfied us most. We had experienced burnout on numerous occasions. Our mental and physical health had taken a backseat. We felt many pressures barreling towards us, including the next level of our careers, having children, and taking care of our parents. We felt that we needed a pause.
Vacations help most people temporarily unwind. And right when you're feeling like you're relaxing, it's time to pack up and get back to work. Those of us who can take 2 weeks at a time without zero interruptions are extremely fortunate. We actually had never taken more than 2 weeks off before, and something wild happened once we hit our 3rd week in this trip. It hit us, oh snap, we actually aren't going back to work tomorrow. The Sunday scary stopped creeping in. The impending doom of next week's meetings and emails disappeared, and our minds finally began going into ease. This soon followed by our bodies recognizing the significant reduction in stress.
Right before exiting our lives, Zoya would have migraines 4 times a week. I would have neck and back tension daily. These symptoms of stress nearly disappeared by the 3rd and 4th week into our trip. It wasn't medication or some magic that had resolved these issues for us. It was the change to our environment and circumstances that had the most impact for us. Each month of our leave of presence has further resetted us, humbled us, and inspired us for what comes next. We've loved this experience and what it has done for us, and we passionately believe that many people could benefit from the same. However, all of us live different lives with unique backgrounds, advantages, challenges, goals, and what worked for us may not necessarily be perfect for you in your situation. Everyone's leave of presence can and should look differently. It should reflect what matters most to you and how you want to use this special time.
This channel will be where we share stories, lessons, and practical travel tips, creating a resource for others seeking a similar experience or just need some inspiration to go travel. We hope you follow us on this journey where you will see and hear more about the wonderful world around us, how to get there, how to maintain a healthy lifestyle along the way, and actually learn how to prepare for your own legal presence. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video and want to follow us on our journey, please like and subscribe. Thank you.
Thank you.